So, I mean, the first episode without Tallham, I never expected it to be that well. I guess we need to kind of start planning of, replacing him at some point if he keeps getting sick or something. No, so I hope for everyone that's listening, and I mean, we're two people on the podcast today. I guess, you know, Tolham got a bit sick in his tummy. He decided to cook some Thai food and butchered it. Basically, he went ahead and put mushrooms in the green curry.
Without washing the mushrooms.
Yeah, well, it was like I read somewhere online that I just need to kind of pat it down and not actually wash it. I'm like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? So not only he's sick, like the whole household that
Oh
ate that
man.
food is. Yeah, I feel sorry for all of them. Hopefully he gets well and we get him on the next episode. So you wanna tell us where we are right now?
Sure. So I've been in Dubai 17 years, and I think finally I found a cigar lounge which I can call home. It's
Awesome.
uh, it's very homely. It's a new place that's just opened up on Sukim Road. It's called Vintage, and it's between Mall of the Emirates
Yep.
and Dubai Hills Mall.
Pretty convenient as well. Like from a place point.
That's right, and it's brand new. Everything's been completely refurbished. It looks absolutely brilliant. You can see we're sitting in the corner. It's a lovely location, and they have their own humidor. It's quite a large selection of cigars.
Nice.
They have Cuban cigars as well as non-Cuban New World cigars, and they even have their own brand of cigars, which is called Amarati,
Yep.
and that's what we're smoking today. I have the Amarati OG, which is a Nicaraguan cigar with an Ecuadorian wrapper.
I have to tell you, the label of the cigar itself looks stunning. So I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna enjoy smoking this one. Maybe you want to give us a little bit of a history of how did you find this place? Because I remember you called us. We were in the office and you called me and told him, I was like, I found one of the best cigar lounges out here. We need to go check it out. And I think it was on the old design. They
Yeah,
weren't refurbished just yet. You want to tell us about how did you actually manage to find this?
yeah. So my friend Kieran sent me a picture of the humidor, and it looked amazing. I was like, I've never seen this place in Dubai before.
Yep.
And then he told me this is a place called Vintage, and it's near Mall of the Emirates. So I was like, okay, that's great because it's not far from our office, not far from our houses.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, be a great place to film a podcast on Fridays after prayer. It's a perfect place.
Perfect. Yeah. I think our coffees are here. Always looking forward to that. Yeah, you can bring them in. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, so the staff is also very helpful here. Yeah, so thank you.
There's something to pairing coffee with cigars.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's always it's always a lovely thing to go ahead and pair with like a perfect cup of coffee, pair your cigar, and you just get to enjoy both the coffee and the cigar more if you're smoking and drinking it at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. I think the notes of the coffee can complement the cigar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the notes, I've just been reading the brochure on Amarati cigars. So the notes that are in the OG, I've already, full disclosure, I've already smoked two of these in the last week or so.
And he couldn't stop talking about them. Like the moment, like it takes a lot for Omar to say like, this is one of my favorites,
Yeah.
and then he went ahead and actually said that, and it made me and Tolham even want to smoke it more, because from someone that has his palate favoring Monte Cristo and Partagas
Yeah, too.
number
Yeah.
two, and then going and saying, "Oh, I found a cigar, a local, brand called Amarati and OG, and it's up there in your favorites." That was a bit special, I think. And when we heard about that, we're like, okay, we need to smoke this. We need to try it out and see if you're being truthful here or
Yeah,
not.
for sure. I actually brought one of my close friends, Mario, last week, and he really enjoyed it as well. So the notes that it says in the brochure are nutty, fruity, cacao, and woody. So we'll see
Nice.
what we come up with when we start smoking it. I think we should
Oh, so what do you get
unwrap
on
it.
the nose?
once you unwrap it, once what you see is you have two bands, and you see that the front of the cigar is closed,
Yeah,
right?
this is a new one.
Yeah, so that's basically they've wrapped it around the front, and when you light it, that burns off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it gives it quite a cool experience that you're burning the tobacco off the front, and then you start smoking it.
Oh
I'm
wow.
getting a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
It's literally it's just like a chocolate bar. So if you take the front band off, and
So what are you gonna use for the cut?
so I'm just going to use a straight cutter and just take off the cap at the mouth. You can see that the mouth of the cigar has a cap.
Yeah.
So when they're closing it off, once they've rolled it, they put a cap on just to
Yeah.
close it, and then you basically just want to cut off that cap, and not more than that.
I think
And
I'm gonna go for a V cut. I've always enjoyed V cuts when it comes to torpedoes.
yeah,
Just makes it a little bit, you know, easier on the inhale.
and also it's a good way to create a cut, which is easier to put in your mouth
Yeah.
without having the tobacco directly touching your tongue.
Lovely.
So if you do just a draw without it being lit, you'll get a very strong taste.
Yes.
What's that taste? What are you getting?
I'm getting a little bit of fruitness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite fruity.
Yeah. Oh, if Tallham was here, he would be like, it tastes like cherry and a little bit of apricot. It has a hint of apples.
But green apple, not red
Oh, yeah,
apple.
green apples. This is,
You can see the flow of it is really nice as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It does taste, it has a nice balance of fruitness, chocolate, and even the draw itself. Yes, there is that wrapper on top that they went ahead and did in the end, but it doesn't disrupt the flow
Yeah.
even before burning it off.
I
Right?
think that
Should
tastes.
we light up?
Yeah, that tastes really nice.
I see the experience you were talking about.
Yeah,
It's like having a firecracker in your head.
exactly.
Nah, this is lovely.
And you'll see it gradually burn away, and you'll all you'll be left with is like a red ember of tobacco that you can see, and then you know it's lit. When you can see it all red, that's how you know the cigar is ready to be smoked. How's the initial draw?
Smooth, woody. There's a bit of woodness there.
What kind of wood?
I mean, I don't know that much details.
Okay.
I haven't licked that much wood in my lifetime. But I don't get that much pepper. I think that might come in the second or the last third, but
It's
not
cedar.
peppery. This is cedar.
So that taste
Okay.
that you're getting is cedar. So when you smell a cigar box, an empty cigar box, that's the smell.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice, the size is nice as well. I know there's a bunch of sizes when it comes to the OG.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 or 4, correct me if I'm wrong, sizes.
Nine sizes.
9 sizes.
So
Wow.
this is a petite pyramid. There's also Robusto. There's also different types of cigars, so 9 sizes.
9 sizes. That's amazing. And I think this is a nice, nice size for like a, I don't know, a lunch meeting,
Mm.
something to do with, a 30-minute, 40-minute kind of quick meetup you want to have with the guys after work. Nothing that takes so much time. This is good, and we're gonna be timing how much this is gonna take. But I'm enjoying this. The first couple of draws were nice. Um, so yeah, let's see how it goes from now. There's a lot we want to talk about, man. It's just the financial markets have been going crazy. All those Telegram and WhatsApp groups I'm in has been going nonstop.
Yeah,
Scared people are just talking a lot about what's happening.
the volatility, right?
Yeah, volatility from like news that's come out. Nvidia is under so much pressure. I think everyone that is in
And
the AI
Microsoft.
game, yeah, Microsoft, anyone that is under like that AI umbrella has been a bit kind of shocked by what happened. I think they didn't that much. They didn't expect it much. I think they were always living that lie of, oh, we conquered the world of AI and no one is gonna come and try to take that from us. Specifically, companies that were established in the U.S.
Yeah,
So it's really interesting to see that a bunch of people thought of, okay, we can actually make this in a much cheaper, more efficient way,
yeah.
and just shocked the market.
But the funny thing is, like, even with all this volatility, I was just checking my portfolio this morning, and it's the last day of the month, 31st of January. I'm actually up 5%. So,
So like when it comes to your portfolio, you're not just investing in tech, right? There's a
right.
lot of other stuff you're investing in, or it's mainly like, how does your portfolio look like? Do you
So my
mainly put
my
tech there?
my I normally have 50% in ETFs, and it's normally a S&P 500. So what you're finding is, even though there's disruption and there's volatility in some of the tech stocks like Microsoft and Nvidia, there seems to be a general growth happening over the course of this month in the non-tech stocks.
Hmm.
So like the bank stocks, Costco, these kind of stocks are still going up. And then you still got
Yeah.
growth in like Amazon, Facebook, Netflix. So I think that's what I always try to tell people is, if you have a diversified portfolio, you might not gain 100 in a year,
Yeah.
but you also won't likely lose 50-60% of your portfolio in a year.
You won't get hit that much, basically, if anything. Yeah, exactly, because I think the industry that got a bit shaken off
Yeah,
is technology in general, and then specifically tech that has anything to do with AI, at main points. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a good thing. Diversification always works. People keep on thinking of diversification as just in terms of asset classes,
yeah,
but no, even within a specific asset class, you kind of want to diversify, right? Like I've never heard of someone that invests only in holiday homes, for example, when it comes to real estate. It's like,
right.
oh, that's it. That's not diversification. Just because you're going into multiple assets, yes, it's one sort of diversification, but you need to also make sure that what you're investing in branches out as well, right? And I think what happened specifically with the AI companies is that I think they were also kind of, because see, here's the thing: if a company comes in and wants to disrupt a specific market, let's say like AI, and they're asking for millions, billions of dollars of investments to go ahead and build something like that,
Yep,
they will go ahead and spend millions and billions of dollars of investments.
yep,
They're not gonna care much about the efficiency and let's make it as cost effective as possible, because there was a lot of money being dumped into that space. And I think that is what kind of put them in the spot, because they spent a lot in
yep,
developing that. And I'm speaking generally about like OpenAI and ChatGPT, is that they spent a lot of money, of resources into building that for a company to come in, especially out of China, right? And to go ahead and say like, oh, we're so efficient in managing our data that it actually doesn't take that much money to do something that is even more efficient and better than what the other folks have been doing. And that was the most interesting part for me. It's not like, it's gonna affect me as a user. Like, I'm gonna use ChatGPT. I'm gonna use those other guys. I'm gonna use whatever I get my hands on. And for my specific usage, they're all the same. They're all giving me the same thing, right? I'm not doing massive calculations to go ahead and say, okay, which one is faster and which one is not. I'm just merely asking them to simplify things for me that I can't understand when I'm reading a specific thing.
Yeah, so I've been reading some deep dives into the space over the last week since this new news came out about the Chinese AI, and what I realized is that when your brain is thinking of solving a problem, it utilizes trillions of neurons, which take the information in, process it, and give you a solution. Now,
Yep.
that's what machine learning and AI has been doing. Is they're using transformers, right? Where you input the information and then uses billions of neurons and data sources to get to that solution. So, if, for example, if it looks at 360 billion sources to get to that answer, what they've done is they've spent billions to try to create that model.
Yeah.
Now, what DeepSeek
Yeah.
has done is effectively looked at the solution, looked at the problem, and said, okay, if you input the question and you want an answer, do you really need to go through the 360 billion sources to get to the answer?
Yeah.
What if it's able to get to the answer by only using 80 billion?
Exactly. And the accuracy of the answer is not going to be that much of a difference.
Right.
We're talking about fractions of a percentage, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's good enough for it.
exactly.
And if it gets to a good enough answer, but you're only spending $5 million instead of
Billion.
$80 billion to
Yep.
create this model. Now, why the market got spooked was thinking, okay, if you only need $5 million and you only need a fraction of the NVIDIA processors, then surely the demand for the NVIDIA processors is going to go down.
Yep.
But actually, if you look at it long term, Microsoft and NVIDIA, the fact that you could be able to do so much processing with less amount of money in processing would open it up to a lot more people to use that. So instead of needing huge data centers, you can actually run it off your own PC,
Yep.
right? So in that case, there'll be a lot as because it's cheaper. You'll have a lot more demand for it in the long run,
Yep.
and I think that's why actually if it's a great opportunity
To get in.
to get into Nvidia and Microsoft because you've had these dips.
Yep.
I'm a firm believer that when something gets cheaper, it becomes more widely used.
Hmm.
And
No, no, 100%. I think now more people that have been relying on cloud computing and AI models that have been, massively produced, they will go ahead and think of actually creating stuff that are customized for them rather than going ahead and doing it. So a company that's built the majority of its, I would say, artificial intelligence on OpenAI can now go ahead and start thinking, okay, can we build our own models now,
yeah,
right? Which is interesting to see because I think, as you said, the adaptability of AI is just going higher and higher by the minute. But it's just created this weird thing again about China versus the US, right? And
yeah,
we've seen it in multiple things. We've been seeing it as well, although it's nothing to do with China, but we've seen the social media war that was happening between TikTok and the US. Again, purely just from a perspective of a country wants to control all mass social media platforms out there, and anything that's been produced that is outside that geographical, borderline, it's just raises the question for them. And I think the same thing will happen with DeepSeek. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not, you know, there's no made in the US stamp into
Yeah.
it, there's a made in China stamp into it. So that's gonna get it a bit more hassle into getting into people's hands
Yeah.
across. But that's what's gonna happen. I mean, eventually, yes. I don't know. The big old Trump is gonna go ahead and try to buy it, or try to get Elon or one of his guys to buy it off. Like Microsoft now is in talks to buy TikTok,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be interesting to see if they're gonna, back down or not. I'm pretty sure that, China has a lot of innovation that's happening out there. Especially, we talked about the Chinese car makers when it comes to electric cars, and they've been killing it
Yeah.
lately in the market. Now with this one, some really interesting to see like what's gonna come out next.
Have you seen the Jetour cars?
Yeah,
So the T2 is a beautiful car.
yeah.
My understanding is now, if you,
Unless you own a Defender, then you're a bit pissed,
exactly,
basically.
but I always like to see the trains that the Emiratis um, are driving. And what you normally see is there's certain malls where there's more Emirati clientele, and you normally see G wagons and Range Rovers, and now you're starting to see more Defenders,
Yeah,
and now you're starting to see more a lot of Teslas,
yeah.
and now you're actually recently starting to see more Jetours, T2s, and it's becoming so popular that there's now a waiting list to
Yeah,
buy
yeah, yeah. and
T2s.
and when something is really popular here, they hike up the price of it, that it becomes even more expensive than,
Yeah,
when getting it from directly from the dealership, because the dealership has this wait list, and going to Dubizzle or going to one of the marketplaces online, you're gonna go ahead and find it like at a 20%, sometimes 30%
yeah,
upmark.
premium, yeah,
Exactly, which is crazy. But I've seen a lot of T2s, yeah, and they also have dashing,
yeah,
G Tour dashing, and I've seen a lot of Uber and Cream cars that are getting more into that electric space. Dude, anytime I go to like one of those gas stations that has also like a small section where you can charge your car, it's always packed now.
yeah,
I feel sorry for people living in like apartment buildings that don't have electric chargers, because that was the only way they can charge their cars.
yeah. But now a lot of apartment buildings are having to upgrade
Yeah,
their parkings to include electric car chargers. And I think you saw the new rental index
yeah, yeah. They
that came
take
out.
into
They take into
consideration.
account the quality of a specific building when you want to increase your rent. So the funny thing is, when before this new one came out, my building was supposed to be a 10% increase, but after this new rental index came out, the landlord cannot actually increase the rent. So it's actually worked out well, but incentivizes landlords to increase the facilities in the building, the quality. So if they do include electric chargers, they'll be able to maybe increase the rent next year.
Yep. I mean, pretty sure that the market doesn't seem like it's slowing down. Rent has gone massive, and I think people are only comparing them to when COVID time was there. They're not actually looking at rent pre-COVID. So realistically speaking, it's kind of correcting itself. It's not even like, still it didn't reach the maximum, the all-time high that it reached before then.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How's your coffee?
coffee is really good. I wonder what blend it is.
What notes are you getting?
Well, I'm getting a little bit of nutmeg. Getting a little bit of cigar from the coffee as well. I think my palate is just mixing them out. But I enjoy this space. It's calm. Even the room that we're sitting in, we're gonna actually show it off in one of the posts on our social media. So if you haven't followed our social media accounts yet, please go ahead and do that. We're on Instagram. We're trying to be active as much as possible on Instagram, but the three of us, I don't think we're like that. That social media
Yeah.
friendly, I would say. I think you're the most out of us. Tallham recently created an Instagram account. But
The funny thing was yesterday in the office, I think it was B9. who was trying to show Riz, our CEO, how to use Instagram, and it was pretty funny watching him trying to navigate social media. Although he's not that old, right? But he's
I think he was never interested in it in the
yeah.
first place. I remember like every time I want to send him like an Instagram video, I have to download it on my phone and send it to him on WhatsApp. Yeah, there's a lot of nice memes I send him about how he is like a bad boss to me sometimes. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we love that guy.
I think it reminds me of
Michael Scott.
yeah, from The Office.
He see the thing is he's like a mixture between Michael Scott, Dwight, and just a little bit of Toby at sometimes whenever he's like pissed at you. But no, like I think the nice thing about it, and we've spoken about the Office that much. Every single person in the Office makes it even a little bit better.
Yeah,
So every single one of us has their own kind of character. We really can work out as a good TV show.
exactly.
Like if they want to make like a Dubai version of The Office, they just have to come to our office and like shoot it off like a couple of episodes. I enjoy it that much.
The funny interactions I see are between Tallham and Riz. When Riz comes out of office, and Tallham is somebody who, although he's doing his work, he's also got a YouTube video on. He's got music on. He's got iPad on with something else on, and he does not care. He does not give a shit who judges him. Riz will come out of his office and see, okay, this guy's got like 4 different media on when he's working, and Tallham just doesn't give a shit. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Nah, and I feel sorry. I feel sorry the most for Miham because she sits between me and Toham, and there's always that banter happening, and yeah, it's she picked the worst place to sit in the office, I guess. So how's the OG going for you?
I'm really, really enjoying it. It's so smooth, woody, chocolatey. The first third has that. That's what I was telling you. It's already become one of my favorite cigars.
Reminds me a lot actually of the Monte Cristo we smoked
Monte
at your
Cristo
place.
number 2.
Yeah, not because of course both of them are torpedoes, but the notes profile,
Yeah,
what
you're
I'm
right.
tasting, yeah, it reminds me a lot of that. And
I don't know if about you, but I find that, see, the pace of life in Dubai is so fast that a week passes like it's literally one day.
yeah,
And for me, being able to smoke a large cigar and taking 2 hours out is very
it's
hard.
too much.
It's like if I get home at say 6, 7, 8 o'clock, and I've got a family, I've got 2 kids, so trying to look at them, and then trying to also think about, okay, I want to sleep by like 10, 10:30. There's not that time. And the weekend, you're thinking, okay, the kids, family want to go out, and you take them somewhere. You come home, say you come home at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and you're already tired from being out all day. You can't sit for 2 hours just smoking a cigar.
Yeah,
So I think a size like this, where, okay, maximum 45 minutes, 1 hour, you're done. Especially coming to a lounge and being able to get away from the family,
get away from the noise.
get away from the wife. I think this is perfect, right? So you can have a conversation, you can have something to eat, you can have a drink, and an hour later you go back into your schedule, busy schedule. I think this is ideal.
Yeah, no, and I think again, you mentioned food, and I've tried. I think we've tried the pizza here
Mhm.
together, and oh man, it is one of the best pizzas for me personally
Yeah,
that I've had in Dubai. There's only a couple of places that can actually perfect Napolitano, right?
yeah.
And the one we had here was really good. The good thing about this lounge as well is there's a restaurant literally. So the
What's
lounge,
the restaurant called?
um,
Quit. I think it's Quince.
Quince, yeah,
Yeah.
Quince. And they have a winter menu right now. They've told us multiple times to try out the truffle pizza. They tried us to try
Walnut and truffle pizza.
walnut and truffle pizza with a little bit of honey. It sounds good. It sounds like I hopefully it tastes as well as good as it sounds. But yeah, so the lounge kind of is in a restaurant, but also at the same time you feel the restaurant is in the lounge, but
Yeah,
also at the same time you feel like there's this section where so there is a lounge that is just the lounge
yeah.
next to that humidor, and then there's a section that is between a restaurant and the lounge that you can grab a bite and
It's
as well
halfway
as
house.
exactly that you can have a slice of pizza in one hand and a cigar in another hand, and then you have the actual restaurant over there.
So my daughter is here with me, so she's in the restroom. So I went to check on her, and she was just chilling. She was FaceTiming her friends. She's on her iPad. She's in the ordering drinks, ordering food. She's
Yep.
in the
Good luck with the bill. She's gonna take
exactly.
it all on you. It's like he made me wait for like an hour to shoot his podcast while I'm here. That's it.
So um I brought her in here to show the room, and she said it's really nice. But she also says to me sometimes, I think she does it to wind me up. She'll be watching a clip of a Mr. Beast podcast, and she'll be like, "Dad, your podcast is never gonna be as popular as that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, your podcast is boring." I was like,
Yeah.
"What do you
She's your world's biggest supporter. Eh?
mean?" She tells me exactly how it is.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, hopefully it gives you that drive of like, you know what, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna show you how this podcast is going, and I've been enjoying it so far. To be honest, man. Like even regardless what happens with the podcast, the most important thing is I'm enjoying the conversations. I'm enjoying the cigars. I'm enjoying exploring places like the cigar lounge we're sitting in, and to get to do it all recorded, to show people all the nice things that we have in Dubai. That's the essence of it. And I think last time we came here to Vintage, we also sat in this room,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not sure if we've found any other cigar lounge that does have like an exclusive kind of room or space where you can book for like a meeting or book it for just chilling with a couple of your friends away from everyone else.
I think Tallham found a place, but it looked like it was from the
Oh man,
1920s.
that it looked like an old grandpa's man cave when man caves were a thing back then. Yeah, the curtains threw me off, to be honest. Like when I looked at the room, it's like the curtains were like so old, and but no, we're not gonna bash anyone.
It looked like somewhere Tallham would actually frequent.
Yeah,
That's like his kind of place. Maybe that was his living room.
think so, because he kept saying that it's close to my place, close to my place. Yeah,
No, I think this room feels like it could be out of the Godfather.
oh, especially with the picture that you have behind you.
Yeah, of Winston Churchill.
Yeah, one of the biggest cigar smokers
Yeah,
known to mankind.
we'll leave out the questionable history.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, let's just keep it on the cigar level. I love how like the majority of brands went ahead and were like, you know what, we're gonna just have a size and we're gonna
Yeah,
call it the
I'm gonna call it
Churchill.
the Churchill,
Yeah.
which is normally 7 inch, 50 millimeters ring gauge.
Do you think they used to call it the Churchill back then when he was like
When
the
he
one
was
over there?
looking.
Like, what are you smoking? I'm smoking myself in a size.
And do you do any retro healing when you're smoking a cigar?
So honestly, I did a couple of times, but also it depends on the cigar.
Right.
I'd prefer doing it for super light cigars. I haven't like for example, I don't do it with dark wrappers. What do you call the dark wrapper?
Maduro.
Yeah. So I
This is not Maduro.
so what is this?
This is an Ecuadorian wrapper, which is like
Okay.
a bit lighter than a Maduro.
Okay.
So normally there's Connecticut, which is like very light
Hmm.
cigar wrapper, and then there's Maduro, which is very dark. This is like in the middle. Normally they call this a Habanos wrapper,
Okay.
and I think if you do some retrohaling, you're getting a wee bit of pepper from this.
A pepper.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think that's
Yep.
that's the game changer, right? So if you blow half of it out your mouth and then keep the rest and blow it out your nose, you get a lot more flavor.
Yep. See, the thing is with me, I sneeze a lot when that happens, and doing it on a podcast, Miham is
Can,
gonna have a hard time editing all that out,
can we get a sample of you retrohaling this?
right?
There you go. No sneezing.
For now. No, I get what you're saying. Yep. It's lovely.
I think the second, third, you're getting a bit more pepper,
Yep.
a bit more intensity.
Definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
also going to let it rest for a little bit.
And the fruitness that we were getting from the dry draw.
Yeah,
Is it dry draw?
the initial draw.
Yeah. I don't feel it that much anymore. I think
Yeah.
it's the cedar is a bit overpowering it,
Yeah.
the fruitiness. I'm really excited to try the other ones they have as well. So you wanna tell us a little bit more about, what other cigars they have under the Amarati, or should we keep it as
So
a?
I'm not allowed to speak too much about that because my understanding is when they first launched the Amarati brand,
Yeah.
they had a certain line, and then they evolved into having three different sub brands within Amarati.
Hmm.
OG is one of them.
Yeah, that's the one that we're
That's
smoking
the one
right
that we're
now.
smoking. Then there's Letters to a Father and Sol Azul.
Yeah.
And now, well, inside information, they're
Okay.
now
Is this gonna get us in trouble?
no, they're bringing out a third generation of their own brand,
Okay.
which I understand is going to be in partnership with one of the non-Cuban brands and family of cigars. I don't know which one, but my understanding is I think it's 18th of February they're gonna launch
Okay.
here in the Vintage Cigar Lounge. They're gonna launch that brand, and it's gonna be a collaboration Amarati with that other brand, and that's gonna be quite exciting.
It does sound exciting, especially for a homegrown brand
Yeah.
like the Amarati cigar to collaborate with something from outside. Yeah. Can you give us any hints or?
Um, I don't know myself to be honest,
Oh, okay.
so
So it's a secret basically.
it's just something that I've heard.
But
There's another local cigar company. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Maluha. You get them from Cigar Center, Smoking Center, in the malls.
they have them in Leaf Master.
No, they
No.
have them in Smoking Center in the malls and in Dubai Duty Free.
Okay.
You might have seen them. They're very thick. God, like 70
Oh wow.
milliliter. Very, very thick. God. And I think they sponsor some of the polo events and stuff. I've never actually smoked one of them. Just seen them, but
Hmm.
they're quite expensive. And but for me, I think this is the right price point. I think they start from about 100 dirhams.
Yeah.
Uh, right price point, beautiful flavor. Actually looking forward to seeing what the third generation is going to be like.
Yeah.
It's a good evolution, right? Um, having somebody who's traveled to Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and actually gone to the farms, and I think that's what sets the Emirati entrepreneurs apart. Uh, like, for example, Espresso Lab, the founder Ibrahim, he actually travels to Brazil, travels to Colombia, goes to the farms, and sees the actual beans being grown, and then sources them, brings them back here. They roast them, and they make the best coffee. So
Yeah,
I think,
I think those brands that the basically start from ambition, right?
yeah,
From someone being super enthusiastic about a specific product, and they're like, okay, you know what? I want to get more into this. I wanna do it myself. They always make it, right? So whether it's a cigar, whether it's a coffee roastery, whether it's I don't know, a cake shop or a bakery.
even chocolate, right? There's Mirzum
Yeah.
in Alcoz, which is a local chocolate brand where they source single origin chocolate from different uh, countries, from India to Indonesia to Africa, South America. And then there's another one, same concept, which is near the QE2 in Mina Rashid.
Hmm.
I think it's called Coffee Lab. They also do that. They have their own roastery for coffee and for chocolate, and they make their own single origin chocolate as well as their own single origin coffee. And it's a lovely place to go and sit. And you're sitting next to the QE2. There's a marina, beautiful boats,
Hmm.
sea view. It's a lovely place to sit.
Have you ever been to the QE2?
I've never been inside,
I've
only from
always seen it from the outside, but
only
I've
from
never
outside.
as well. Yeah.
Funny enough, one I was with the family. We were driving past because we went to the coffee lab. And going past the QE2, there's a bit of sand, and there's a pair of Gucci loafers just lying there in the middle of the sand. I don't know how they
I mean,
how they got there.
that's
That's why you see me wearing Gucci loafers.
like, so they were in the sand. Now when they are in my cupboard. So whoever lost their Gucci loafers, follow the podcast. Listen to every episode. We'll be dropping like hints on every episode, doing like a treasure hunt for you to go ahead and find them. Yeah, man. And there's a lot of weird things. But the other like when New Year's Eve, I made the mistake of going out to like what to JBR to see the
On New
fireworks.
Year's Eve.
Yeah.
That's
So here's the thing.
suicide.
It so you know, been married for a couple of months now, like 7 months. Is the first New Year's Eve with my wife, and she hasn't been New Year's Eve in Dubai for a long time. So she wanted to go ahead and see the fireworks and all that. I was like, listen, you know what? Fine. We were at my grandma's. Took the took the metro to the
Tram.
tram station. Took the tram to JBR. The amount of people was unbelievable. I've never seen this much people in my life condensed in one place. But that's the thing. You kind of you want her to have the experience so that she never asks for it again,
No.
right? And everyone that comes to Dubai have experienced going on New Year's Eve out to see the fireworks once. I don't think they do it twice.
Yeah.
Some people that do it twice or three times, they I don't know. They enjoy being sandwiched between two people. So, anyways, so we were walking there, and the amount of lost item because the thing is, if you lose something there with the amount of people that are walking around, you can't go down and grab it. If you go down, you're down. Khalas, you're gone.
Yeah.
I saw an Apple Watch. I saw a bunch of like sneakers for people, like literally in the middle of the way, in the middle of the road. And for me, I was like, how how bad is it to forget your shoe or like to lose your shoe in the middle of a crowd and you can't go ahead and get it and you have to go back home with just one shoe. So yeah, I've seen like a lot, and like the Apple Watch was like broken on the side of the road, and then the security came and took it. So I'm pretty sure like the lost and found box of like in the 1st of Jan was like overflowing with like shoes and weird stuff.
Maybe that could be a tradition for Habano del Podcasto on the New Year's on the 1st of January. We go and get all the lost and find.
We go buy the lot.
We kit ourselves out for the rest of the year.
The problem is like you're only gonna see like half a pair. Like you're gonna see like one shoe, not the
Yeah.
actual pair. So It reminds me when we took the office because it was like a Clark's
Yep.
showroom. So the whole there's a section in the office where like it was filled with just the lift pair or shoe
Yep.
from the pair, and we were like thinking of donating them. I was like, to donate to who? Like where can we donate this? So, and they were all size 37,
But can you just imagine how many pairs were there? Like,
more than 50. So more than 50 left shoe size 37, brand new, like never been worn. Because it's like a showroom, right?
yeah,
And this is the thing, like we were just looking at them, like, what can we do with this? You can't even like do anything to it. Yeah, it's such a waste.
talking about shoes, I just watched a film the other day. It's called Air. It's about the history of the Jordan brand within Nike. You seen it? It's with
No.
I think Ben Affleck was the director, and he stars as Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, and as Matt Damon, and talks about how the Jordan brand came about. I didn't realize that. Now you see Nike, and you see Nike as the biggest sports company in the world, right? But at the time in the 80s, it was actually lagging behind Adidas and Converse, and it was actually the underdog. Nobody really wore Nike in sports. There was a few people that had worn it in the Olympics. Nobody really wore it in the NBA, NFL. It was mainly Adidas and Converse. People wanted to
Okay.
wear Adidas because they had the cool three stripe
Yeah.
tracksuits. So like rappers were wearing that. So sports people, everyone wanted to wear Adidas. Nobody wanted to wear Nike because it was just like some small brand from Oregon in middle of nowhere, America. Right? But that all changed because they took such a big gamble on NBA rookie who was just signed with Chicago Bulls. They've said, okay, all our budget, we're just going to put it towards him. And we're going to launch a line called the Jordan line. And they put everything into that. They put the full budget, the full marketing budget, everything, and exploded.
Wow. And it grew with him, right?
I agree with them, right? And the amazing thing is, like when they were doing that deal, the mother was the agent for Michael Jordan, and she called up. She said, "Good news." I'm just doing a spoiler for the movie, but good
Yeah, you
news.
ruined it. Hold on,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna
exactly.
hear it from you.
Good news. You have the contract because obviously Adidas were the favorites, then Converse. But we want you to, yeah, we like the idea of you launching a Jordan brand, but we want 5% of all sale revenue to go to Michael Jordan. And because of that, he's now worth something like $3 billion because he gets 5% of all revenue from the Jordan line.
Back then, who would have thought?
Who would have thought, right? And the
Yeah,
mother, and because she put that in there, that's actually meant billions of dollars have gone towards sports people
yeah.
over the last few decades.
Wow.
It's a great movie. Just watching it is brilliant because you got the 80s music, you got the 80s cars, the 911s. It's brilliantly acted.
Shout out to all the mothers out there,
Yeah, for sure.
always taking care of their kids.
I'm thinking when I renegotiate my contract with Smart Crowd, I'll get my mother to
Yeah,
speak to this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I got my mother to speak to it. Problem is, the only thing she negotiated was to get Riz to help me lose weight.
For your wedding.
Yeah. We were at Ammar's wedding in Pakistan. That happened. Yeah. Remember that collab that happened between Adidas and Ravi restaurant over
Yeah.
here? It's like when the collaboration went out, like a couple months after that, a couple branches of Ravi closed down.
Yeah.
So not all collabs actually work out well.
The funny thing is that because I'm obviously from the restaurant industry, My father was a big fan of Ravi's, so whenever he used to come to Dubai, we used to go to Ravi's. So we've always been very close to that restaurant. And the day that they launched that collaboration, I was actually in Dubai Mall with the wife, and we went to Level Shoe District, and we saw Adidas collaboration with Gucci.
Hmm.
And I was like, "This is so cool! We've got Gucci, Adidas, what an amazing collaboration!" And the price was so high. I remember walking in the mall, and checking my web browser. I'm always checking the news and stuff, and I saw literally half an hour later, Adidas collaboration with Ravi's restaurant. I was like, what? I just saw them collaborate with Gucci and Ravi's restaurant. And then when they launched, the first day, I think they launched, it was like 400 dirhams or something for a pair. They were selling on Dubizzle for like 20,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, crazy.
And they did tracksuits, not only the shoes,
Mm.
like not only the superstars, they did tracksuits. And what I really appreciate or liked about it is the images that they used, or the models they used in their images on the promotions, were actually
The staff.
workers. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly, the staff of Ravi. Hopefully they paid them really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice. It kind of showed, because here's the thing, there's this image about Dubai and luxury, and everything is luxurious in Dubai and golden everything, but then that showed the other part of Dubai, which I really like
Yeah.
I really love going to Mina Bazaar. I really like going to like all those old districts in Dubai and Dera and Riga. You actually feel like it's alive. You actually like walking down in Mina Bazaar kind of gives you a whole completely different Dubai vibe. And I think that collab did go ahead and show that to people that Dubai is not all about like the bling and the gold and the luxury. You also do find there are more to Dubai than that. There is history here. There is more about that, and I still do enjoy going there
Yeah.
when there's no traffic, of course. But yeah,
So, 2002, November, my father was here. He passed away in December. So he was saying to me, I want to go to Ravi restaurant. So we went there for lunch. And then I remember taking a picture of my dad. And in the background, I have the picture still. It's the picture of Adidas and Ravi's collaboration.
no way.
So it's a famous picture I have of my dad.
Oh,
Um, I'll share that on social media. Uh, it's quite a memory because
it's
my dad used to love just going to Ravi, going to Satwa,
mhm.
getting like a 5 or 10 dirham shave and haircut,
Yeah.
and going to Ravi, getting something to eat. Something that he'd always been doing since I moved here. So 17 years. Every year he used to come. He used to do that same thing. I think what a couple of times my brother took him to somewhere like Aikens or something. And my dad was like,
No, I don't
"This
want
this
this.
is not my thing. I want to go
Yeah,
to that Satwa and get it for 5 or 10 dirhams.
yeah.
This is too fancy for me." He wasn't a fan.
No, and that is what really, you know, I like about this place is that you'll find everything.
Oh yeah,
You can
100%.
find this and that, and what, however you want to live, however you, even if you want to every day you want to live like a different person, you can do it, right? And I used to say like whenever my dad comes here, and he's coming in a couple of weeks, whenever he comes here, he because again in Jordan we're not, or in Amman especially, we're not that fortunate. We don't have like a beachfront. We don't have water. Basically, we don't have a sea. We only have like two, the Dead Sea or Aqaba, which is like a 5 hour drive. So for him, he just loves going to the waterfront market
Yeah,
and in near Port Rashid.
I've never been.
I'm telling you, it is for me. It is like literally the biggest fish market I've seen
No,
in my life. It's open 24/7,
well,
and there is a place there called Yahya.
hmm,
It's an Egyptian restaurant. So you go into the fish market, you buy your own fish, you pick and choose your fish, your lobsters, anything you want. There's a section where you clean whatever you bought. You go ahead and you clean them, and then you go to the restaurant, you give it to them, they cook it for you, and
right.
they serve it. right there in the restaurant.
That's brilliant.
So we should go one day.
Yeah.
The just the whole experience of picking your own fish, you know, and going to that place, getting it cleaned, going to the restaurant, telling them how you want it to be cooked, and serving it on the table and eating it. That whole experience, it takes like half a day for you to do all this,
Yeah.
but that experience itself is really nice. And there's a bunch of other restaurants. There's also another one that does broils. So you actually can buy like all your crabs, your lobsters, your shrimps, and you go ahead and you actually give it to them, and they create like a broil for you. They put the white rice on the table and the bucket. So that is one of the things what I like about that place is you get to just eat whatever. It doesn't sound like you're not eating what you catch. You're eating what you pick.
What you pick.
Kind of the same thing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really interesting because even though I've been here many years, I've never known that place to exist.
Oh no, and the place is so big, so it's not only a fish market.
Right.
So there's a huge section which is the fish market, and when I'm telling you it's a huge section, it is like you're standing in the beginning of it. You can't see the end of it because it's that big. There's like hundreds of stalls that are selling seafood, and then in the same mall or the same building, you walk around a little bit, and there is the vegetables and fruits market. Same thing, a huge place where you can buy whatever you think of when it comes to veggies and fruits from all over the world. And I love going there in mango season. It's just everyone is selling the best mangoes you can get. And then next to that, there is the spices shops.
Yeah.
Also a big place where there's everyone is selling spices and everything around that. And then there is a butcher area. You go in there and you like literally walking around, and there's like all those.
Can you choose your animal? Like,
Well, they only sell three. Hopefully, they stick to that only. It's not like Thailand. There's no alligators or like squirrels or anything. But yeah, there's like hundreds of butchers just standing there, and everything is being literally fresh as it gets.
yeah.
And the prices are so good to the point where you can literally go do your, month shopping over there, buy your own, buy your meat, buy your cutlery, buying everything you want, and just going back home.
Do they sell mushrooms?
They actually do sell mushrooms in the veggies place.
Do they wash it for you?
See, that's the thing. You're not supposed to wash the mushrooms. You're supposed to just pat them down with a cloth.
End up in hospital.
Yeah, yeah. I actually went and I visited him the other day,
Yeah.
the day he was being released, and I went in, and poor guy. I think like you wanna make Tallham suffer. Just get him away from work for 2 days. Like every day he calls me. He's like, "What's happening in the office? Is there anything new? Anything new in the office?" Like, just chill, man, chill.
He was actually messaging me the same thing.
Yeah, he asked the same thing, and especially like when someone messaging on the like, he called me. That was like, "Why is Riz pissed?" I was like, "Wait, what?" It's like, "Yeah, he was telling people to take notes. What happened in the meeting?" I was like, "Dude, I wasn't even in the meeting. I don't know what happened in the meeting." Yeah, he just feels missed out.
I think Riz was telling me that he called Tallham because he wanted to go see him in the hospital, and he said, "I'm just being discharged." But then he asked us, like, "What's happening in the office?"
Yeah, and Riz was telling him like, actually, we'll let him also tell this, but yeah. So Riz was telling him, I was like, I want to come and see you, I want to visit you, and they also was like, no, I'm being discharged, but if you want, we can jump on a Zoom call.
The day that he got put into hospital, I think it must have been on the way to the hospital. He was writing an email with an emergency handover note.
Yep.
I think he thinks that he's actually the CEO of the company.
Maybe he is. Maybe secretly he
Yeah.
is.
I think we're through the second,
Yep.
third, right? And that woodiness, the woody note is coming back strong.
But still, I don't feel the pepper.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah,
me,
same.
it's an even burn. So it's been evenly burning the whole time so far. I'm not getting that much smoke output as you get from some non-Cubans like the Gurkhas.
Yeah.
So this is definitely something you can actually smoke, indoors in your home. It's not gonna leave that much of a smoke coming out of it.
But it's decent smoke output. It's a lot. Sometimes you smoke a cigar, there's not much coming out,
Yeah,
and you don't feel fully satisfied.
you don't feel like you're smoking a cigar, basically.
Yeah, I hate smoking a cigar where you're like trying to smoke it, and you're trying to push some cigar smoke out, but nothing's really coming, and you're like trying to fix the cigar. With this, I think there's a decent amount of smoke coming out.
The again, I haven't smoked that much Cubans, but the only Cuban that I found that issue to be with is the Conteros
Yeah,
that I smoked from Tallham. Like when we smoked the Monte Cristo, didn't need the Cuban fixer
yeah.
basically. The Romeos I smoked didn't need any of that.
So I've been watching quite a few cigar videos, and where obviously there's a lot of marketing as well, but like Palencia,
Hmm.
Fuente, Davidoff, they all are bringing out videos about their factories and their whole process from seed all the way to rolling the
Yeah.
tobacco. And it seems to be that a lot of these non-Cubans are getting better at marketing, and they're talking about how once the actual seed is in the ground to the rolling this and selling the cigar, that's a process of a couple of years because the growing the tobacco takes say 6 months, but then they actually store that tobacco, they hang it, let it age for a year and a half, then they roll it, and then they sell it. Whereas I think Cuban cigars, because there's just so much demand out there, they're just growing the tobacco, rolling them, and selling them straight away.
No aging, no
No aging.
drying.
That's why the limited edition ones, they're aged,
Yeah.
and that's why they're so expensive as well.
But that's the thing. Like, why is the demand so high on Cubans? Like, is it just because the fact that people are still thinking of cigar equal Cuban?
Yeah, primarily that. Also, there's a number of factors, like for example, the U.S. has had the embargo on Cuban
Yeah.
cigars for the last 50, 60 years. So it's like the forbidden fruit.
Hmm.
So when Americans are traveling to Mexico or to the UK, they're like, wow, we can buy Cuban cigars. And now you can actually buy them and bring them back to America.
Oh, you can actually bring, but you
Yeah,
can buy them in the
you
U.S.
can't buy them in
Yeah,
the
you
US.
can find
So
them.
a lot of people still have that thing where, okay, we want to try a Cuban cigar. So that's one of the drivers of growth. But also, since COVID started, people are sitting in the house and they wanted to pick up a hobby. So somebody like Tallham, he sitting there bored in the house, thought, okay, what can I do? And must have seen a cigar video and thought, okay, let's try cigars. Obviously, the first cigars that you've always heard about is the Cubans. So they got into Cubans, started buying them. The Casa del Habano, which is the official distributor, their shelves were completely empty for
Yeah,
about 2 3 years. Whenever I went to the shop, it was empty. So that was one of the major
and
demand.
even in the airports, like it became rare to find a Cuban cigar in the airport. And every time we go to the airport and we find stock for Cubans, we're like, oh, okay, nice, there is something. And back then, airports were known to have always
Yeah.
stock. But that's the thing, when it comes to Cuban brands, like let's say the Cohibas, and then you have the US version of that, is it still the same company or is it a completely different company?
So the US versions of the Cohiba, Partagas, Monte Cristo, those brands were effectively licensed to one cigar company. I think it's called General Cigar Company or something. So they're made. They just use the name, but they're actually made in like Dominican Republic or something.
But they have nothing to do with the actual
Nothing to do with it.
brand. Okay. Because even the logos are a bit different.
Yeah,
The branding, the colors is a bit different.
yeah. I've not smoked a lot of them, um, but what you'll find is that every year Cuban prices are just going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that they have fake Cubans now
All right.
being sold.
So many fakes. the funny thing is, whenever I hear somebody saying to me, "Oh, I got a good deal on a Cuban," or somebody gifted me a Cuban, have a look, and you look at it, and it's fake.
Yeah.
And normally, unless you're buying it from Casa del Habano, or I think Vintage has a few Cuban cigars, unless you're buying it from an official source, it's always fake.
Yeah.
I had a friend message me about a month ago, and he's like, I went to a watch shop opening, and they gave us all limited edition Cohibas. I was like, wow, that's very generous of them. And he goes, yeah, there must have been about 50 people at the event, and they all got limited edition Cohibas. I was like, that's amazing. Can I have a look at it? And he sent me it, so I just sent it along to uh, one of the people I know who works in the Cuban cigar industry, and he said it's completely
Definitely a
fake.
fake. Yeah.
So, so I sent it to my friend. He's like, wow, so disappointed.
Do you think that the watch company knew that they were buying
Oh yeah, of
fakes
course.
for people?
They're probably hoping it wasn't an official watch company.
Mm.
It was
Like a
a
retail.
reseller, a
Ah, okay.
retailer. So they probably just think nobody's gonna know. Their
I mean,
focus is gonna be on this
but that's the thing.
watches.
When you get something for free, do you really
Yeah,
question it?
yeah, exactly.
You're just gonna smoke it, and in your mind, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is the best cigar I've smoked in my life."
That's it. It's always even on Reddit. You see the Cuban cigar forum, people posting the Cubans, and you'll have 50 people telling them this is fake.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting to see like how do they know that it's fake just by looking at
The label,
the label
yeah.
itself. Yeah.
I guess it's not so easy to copy the label from the
But
label.
even the labels, when it comes to, for example, like at least Cohibas, they keep changing the label
Yeah,
itself. Especially like with the editions, they keep changing the label. They keep changing things in the label. And I think that's why they're being picked up by the, by people faking them. They have to always keep on changing,
yeah.
so not mess, because that's like the biggest fake produced cigars is the Cohiba. And then you have the Romeos and the Monte Cristos. But for some reason, Cohiba has always been like really high on demand from people just because they think it's the most premium.
Yeah. So the official distributor for Cohiba Cuban cigars in the UK, one of their representatives was in our restaurant a couple of months ago. So my brother was chatting to him, and so I went to the local shop in Glasgow that sells Cubans. It's called Robert Graham, and I was checking the price of the Cohiba Bihiki, which is their limited edition highest end cigar, and one cigar is being sold for £500,
Wow.
which is about 2,500 dirhams for one cigar.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it tastes, I don't know, as much as it costs, but yeah.
So before the tobacco tax here, I remember they used to be sold in Casa del Habano for about 200 dirhams a cigar. So that's 10 times the price.
See, if you've invested in a couple boxes.
Yeah.
See, and that is why I appreciate brands that are non-Cuban, that are trying to come into the market. Basically, the quality of them is, if not better than even Cubans,
Yeah.
and they keep the prices as it should be, so that people like us can actually enjoy doing that, because it really isn't like that's the thing. They're trying, I think, with the whole trend of the demand and the trend of the actual Cuban cigar, they're trying to make it so premium that it becomes that not everyone can actually go ahead and
Yeah.
enjoy it. But I'm perfectly fine with smoking an OG.
Yeah.
It's the quality is amazing, for the price point as well. It's even like really good compared to other Cuban brands that you can get for like what can you get for 100 dirhams Cuban?
Not much these days.
Probably a short filler,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing where now you're giving the chance to actually smoke something that has a really great quality, the smoke itself is nice. The cigar is nice for that price point.
And we know the owner, right?
Yeah,
And it's like
exactly.
you could come to the vintage meet with Amarati, and
Yep.
it's like he's such a lovely guy. I
And the story behind this, I'm pretty sure the story behind this cigar, because he was telling us about
Yeah,
them and how, especially the letter to a father,
yeah,
has a really nice story behind it, and that's the thing. It gets you to enjoy the cigar even more, knowing there's a story behind the cigar, the blend itself, and for the fact that, especially specifically, sorry, the OG cigar having 9 different sizes,
yeah.
that alone also gives you that experience of whatever, time you have on your hand, you will get something that kind of satisfies your need.
Have you ever been to the Leaf Master?
Yeah, and the one in Haptur,
Yeah.
that's where I bought my first cigar in Dubai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
um I don't really know the name of the brand, but the label had like a tree, something with oak.
Right. Yeah,
I forget the name of it, but
yeah.
yeah.
I know you.
So that was the first, and I think that's the day that we went to. Remember, you and Toham were in that Egyptian cafe slash restaurant that is
Yes.
right across of
Ah, yeah.
Haptur. Yeah.
That's right.
So I was in Haptur. I went to Haptur. I picked up a couple of cigars, and then I went there.
That's right. But what you'll find when you go to the Leaf Master is they have probably about 50 different brands, and they have a lot of stock.
Mm.
So you can go, you'll always know that there'll be cigars available.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to Casa del Habano, they have 50 brands, but only maybe one or two cigars will be available.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think the non-Cubans are really taking over.
Yeah. No, no, 100%. And I think also, I'm really, looking forward and excited to smoke the Davidoff. After, you shared with me that video,
Yeah,
I kind of fell in love with the brand before even smoking their cigar.
yeah.
Right?
It's
Just
just a beautifully made video. Though.
it and the thing is, it does show you the passion of everyone working in Davidoff,
Yeah,
especially like from the top guy to the people rolling the cigar. Everyone is so passionate about it.
yeah,
Like, listen, we're not here to sell millions of cigars and become billionaires, all of us. We just really want to keep the quality that's been passed generations down. And that's the thing with Davidoff, and that's why I'm excited to smoke it. And I think the other brand that I kind of also did enjoy is the Casa Magna.
yeah.
So those ones were nice. They also did the OG reminds me of that as well. The chocolate I was getting from that, it wasn't as even as the OG when it comes to the burn. But yeah, that was a lovely cigar as well. So that's the thing. There's a lot of non-Cubans out there that are really, cigars that you can actually go ahead and say, you know what, I want to buy a box of this and just keep it.
You ever smoked any Arturo Fuente?
No.
So, if like there's the Cohiba brand, Monte Cristo Partagas, the non-Cubans, there's the Arturo Fuente,
Hmm.
Davidoff. These are very, very high-end
Okay.
cigar brands. And I think when you see a Arturo Fuente, just looking at the label and everything, look at the cigar, you'll see it's very, very high quality.
And what is my father? Is a non-Cuban?
My father is also non-Cuban, and they're also very high-end
Hmm.
cigar maker.
Yeah.
Just looking at their label, you can see the quality of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like what I enjoy also when I go to humidors, like the one they have in vintage, is the way that they put, their cigar. They're still in their boxes. The boxes
Yeah,
itself, they're really nice designs. The only thing that kind of is that threw me a bit off when I went to the Leaf Master is a lot of the cigars, they don't actually put them in their boxes. They're like in like plastic shelves by them,
yeah,
like there. So it really kind of like, for me, takes down from the experience of picking up the cigar and buying
yeah.
it. You can actually do want to see like how nice the box is and
Yeah.
how it's been packaged to be sold. They actually opened a new branch in Abu Dhabi,
Okay.
the Leaf Master. I think it's in the Rosewood
Okay. In
Hotel.
ADGM.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast a while back. I think I shared it with you guys, where the owner and founder of the
Yeah.
Leaf Master was on. He there's a podcast for Bovidas,
Right.
and they were talking about the Leaf Master, and he was kind of explaining the whole movement of cigars coming into Dubai. And that's the thing. There's not enough, I think, humidors in Dubai yet, and with new ones popping up like vintage, you have Leaf Master before. I think there's a new one as well that popped out. So people are getting more into it, especially in the GCC. I'm getting like a lot of ads because we're talking about cigars a lot. I keep getting ads on like Instagram for cigar lounges and humidors in Qatar and in
Yeah.
Kuwait. So there is a movement coming out, and I think that's even going to put more demand on non-Cubans.
Yeah.
Hopefully supply is there. Hopefully we don't get to see non-Cubans for like 500, 600 dirhams a stick, because that would kill us
So yeah,
doing this.
you know how there's every cigar has beautiful labels, and some of them have two, three labels on a cigar. When I was in Leaf Master last week, I saw a cigar brand that had no labels, and I actually bought that because it just completely stood out from all the other cigars. So I still just smoke it, but it's got no label, and I've read it's Nicaraguan, and I've read the reviews online. It's really good.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, maybe I'll smoke that next time. But I have a question for you,
Yep,
Adam. So you got into cigars in 2024.
yep.
So before that, say 10, 15 years leading up to that, what was your impression of cigars and the cigar industry? What did you know about cigars?
So that's the thing. The only cigars I was seeing or know of is either the really low quality grape vanilla infused cigars that they
Yeah,
sell in like grocery stores where the cashier is,
yeah,
or Cohibas and Monte Cristos.
right,
That's the only thing that those are actually the only brands I knew of. And the first cigar I smoked was in my high school prom. It
right.
was a Cohiba. Hopefully, it wasn't fake. It was a Siglo 6. I liked it. I I got sick like literally straight after. It was too heavy for like someone that doesn't smoke
Yeah,
at all to go ahead and enjoy it. I think I also inhaled a little bit,
right.
not knowing that you're not supposed to. But cigars in general for me has always been like I've always like been kind of interested in it. Every time we go to a restaurant or a cafe and someone is smoking a cigar, you can smell
You
it,
can smell it.
right? And it always like the difference between me and the people I will be with, they all be like, oh, this smells really bad, the cigar, it smells so bad, and it throws them off. For me, I've always been really enjoying the smell of the cigar. And I think that led up to the point where like in 2024, where you guys have been smoking cigars, are really enthusiastic about cigars. Tallham, and then I went out with you guys a couple of times and smoked a couple of cigars that you gave me. It kind of I went ahead and connected the dots between the
Yeah,
taste and the smell,
right.
but it's always been the smell. Right? The smell of cigars has always been something that got me interested in it. I've never been thrown away from the smell. I think when someone is thrown away by a smell of a specific thing, they will never try it. When it comes to food, when it comes to drinks, when it comes to cigars, if you
Yeah,
don't like the smell of it before you even try it out, you're not gonna go ahead and try it. But yeah, that's the thing. The smell of the cigar has always been something that led up to the point where like, okay, I like smoking them. The Cohiba I smoked, I still remember it. It was really nice, and I think that's the thing that I did. I bought two. So one I smoked, and then one I kept in the fridge,
right. Okay.
thinking that that's a good place to put a cigar. And then I went to college. I went away from Jordan. I lived in Cyprus, and then every summer I used to come back to Jordan, open that fridge, and I still see it there. So my mother kept it for me, and then in the end, I was like, "This is gone. This is absolutely gone. It's butchered." Yeah.
Did he still smoke it?
No. No, I didn't. I did have a box of cigarillos that I bought also when I bought those two cigars. It was a Davidoff box. So I got the cigarillos came in like a small wooden box, and it was on the old branding of Davidoff,
Right,
the beige woody
right.
branding, and I still had them. And when we went to my wedding in Jordan and Tallham came over, I gave them to Tallham. They were like on my shelf in my bedroom, collecting dust for like 10 years. And then he went ahead and he took them and he tried to revive them. We tried smoking a couple of them. They weren't that good. They were on a shelf, not in a good humidor, not no humidity. They lost all the oils in them. They became
Yeah,
super dry. So even when we tried to revive them,
that's
the whole
long gone.
notes went out. خلاص.
I think I've seen that on Reddit a few times. People are like, my grandfather's passed away, and I found this cigar box, which was lying there for 60s or 70s. How much is this worth? They're thinking because it's 60, 70 years old and it's been sitting there, maybe it's become more vintage and
Yeah,
more valuable. But if it's not stored in the right conditions, it's dead, right?
no,
And
exactly.
you can see
And
even there's a humidor just behind us, and you can see it's being stored at 72 degrees Fahrenheit and 70% humidity.
yeah,
So unless it's kept in those kind of conditions, it's going to dry out.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I read also somewhere where the moment the cigar loses the oils
Yeah,
in there, no matter how much you try to restore them, even if you got them back, and because I'm trying to restore a couple of cigars as well that I got my hands on, a couple of limited edition Partagas, Monte Cristo, Rocky Patels. They were like left in a humidor, but no humidity inside, no humidity back, nothing for like around 7 years.
well,
So I'm trying to restore them. And again, I've read a lot about you start introducing humidity
yeah,
packs for a
moisture.
low, exactly. So I put like the 45s for like a couple of months, and then put 60, and now they're at 72. But that's the thing. If they've lost the oils, even if you restored them, you're not gonna get the same notes that you're supposed to get
Yep.
eventually. And that's the thing where we're gonna smoke up a couple of those just to see if they actually are
I'd,
bad.
I'd, I'd smoke anything free.
Oh, dude, believe me, that box. But that's the thing. He had, and they were like still wrapped in their packaging. A box of 25s that he bought from a farm in Canada.
Right,
There's no labels on them, nothing.
right.
And then even after restoring them, the oils on the wrapper is still there. The smell of chocolate is so strong. The smell wasn't there. The moment I put them in my aging box and introduced those Bovida packs, 6 months later, the smell is unbelievably good. And I think those ones might turn up really good because they still have the sheen on them as well. When I first opened the pack, there wasn't there, but then once they start getting in, I think it's because they were like still sealed when I got them, so they kind of preserved the same humidity that they came out of the manufacturer. Hopefully, they will turn out good.
So just talking about the smell of cigars, in my own small humidor, I have one side that's Cuban, one side non-Cuban, and
Yeah,
I've split them. And one of my guilty pleasures is just keeping that cigar box open and just smelling them. The natural smell that you get, it's just beautiful. And I correlate that with some of the perfumes that you can buy, which have tobacco notes. My favorite being Oud Tobacco by Tom Ford. Tobacco
yeah,
Oud.
yeah, yeah,
It's an absolute beautiful smell. And I think what you get with cigars is because it's a natural leaf. It's a natural leaf bundled together, covered up with another natural leaf, and then wrapped with another natural leaf. it's just completely natural product that you're smoking, and that smell that you're getting from those leaves in the plant is beautiful. You're tasting it, but you can also smell it. Same with coffee. It's a bean that's been roasted, and then you're drinking that. I think these are the things that really give you enjoyment,
Yeah.
because it's a
Nothing
natural product.
processed,
Yeah.
all natural.
There's obviously other natural products
Yeah.
from Colombia, which are not cigars and coffee, which
We'll have a censored episode, but but that's the thing with, and I think you did also mention it's the same thing with chocolate. Like,
exactly.
there's a lot of chocolate brands that are just forget about the all the processed chocolate that's been promoted out there, but there's a lot of unprocessed chocolate that tastes so good that you can tell the difference between the cacao being,
Yeah. The Indian single origin versus the Indonesian.
yeah,
So if you go
exactly.
to Mirzum, they have about 12, 13 different single origins, and they have small bits you can taste. So you can just stand there and taste Indian versus Ethiopian, and you'll notice a huge amount of difference.
Yeah, yeah. Oh god, this is lovely. And I think the vibe of the room, the lounge itself, is adding up to, the enjoyment of the cigar.
I think the final third, it's sadly coming towards the end, but the final third on the retro hill, I'm getting a lot of pepper.
Yeah, I'm not doing much of retro hills on this one. Again, I don't want to risk it.
And I actually love smoking indoors as opposed to outdoor, because indoor, once you actually take a puff and you blow it out, you can actually smell it,
Yeah,
and you can smell it in the room. And because we're both smoking the same thing, the smell is beautiful.
until I go home and my wife smells my shirt, and she gives me that look.
There's probably worse things she can smell off your shirts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. She's a shisha smoker,
Okay, then.
so for her the smell of cigars is a bit too much.
So that's one of the things I've always been interested in is if you go to a shisha lounge, sometimes you can be smoking for a couple of hours and you're spending on one shisha anywhere from about 70, 80 dirhams to 300, 400 dirhams, depending on the place. And if you, and what it is actually, what is it? It's a tiny amount of tobacco
Yeah.
which they've purchased for about 5, 10 dirhams, and they're selling it to you using the coals and whatever, and they're selling it to you for hundreds of dirhams.
Oh no, 100%. And especially with, again, just the design of the shisha adds up the price. A shisha with an LED light will become 300 dirhams plus.
Yeah.
If you go smoke it, like if you go to like Smoky Beach or any of those ones that are like hyped up, and 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 that's where, again, I remember I come from a family that enjoys shishas,
Yeah.
right? All my uncles are like big shisha heads, and whenever they go out, they always try to find places that have like the OG shisha, like the old shisha design, the copper one,
Yeah.
where it gives them the best experience, as opposed to like all those glass LED shiny bling bling shishas out there.
You even get them with the ice pipe and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
They put ice, and then you have the shisha heads where they replace the head with like a pineapple or an orange.
Yeah. So I remember when I used to go home to Scotland, and I used to go for a shisha with my nephews. They were really into shisha. One shisha would cost, say, for example, £20, so about 100 dirhams, and this was about 2012, 2013. And I remember thinking to myself, I just came from Dubai duty free, and I bought a Monte Cristo for 50 dirhams,
Yeah,
and these guys are spending 100 dirhams on a wee bit of tobacco. I was thinking to myself, like, this is a natural product, and I'm paying less than what they're smoking.
has nothing to do with tobacco. It's
Nothing
like
to
barely any tobacco,
barely
and
any
the rest is
tobacco.
like just chemicals and
So, in my past life working in alternative investments, I was actually looking at Alfaker
Hmm.
tobacco, which is actually a Jordan company, which is owned by a hedge fund, Kingsway. And the margins are incredible
Oh, of course.
because you're getting you're small amount of tobacco costing a couple of dirhams. You're selling it as a pack for, say, 10, 15 dirhams at the time. And then the shisha lounge is buying that and marking up and selling it for 150 dirhams.
Yeah, no, 100%. We have a family friend that makes their own mimosas
Okay.
at home, and they use honey. But the big factories and the big manufacturing, they don't use honey. They use glycerin.
What's the honey for?
It adds the sweetness and the actual mimosas. They use honey instead of glycerin to make the stickiness, to get the flavors to stick to the actual tobacco.
Right,
So they always use honey, and that's what back then they used to use. It's honey is one of the big parts of making the mimosas of the shisha.
right,
But now they've replaced the honey with glycerin, and that's the thing why when you're smoking like the and I tried it like homemade melosas for shisha, you don't get that much smoke output. The more there is smoke output, the more chemicals has been added to the tobacco to give you that. And unfortunately, people that smoke shishas nowadays, they care more about how much smoke comes out
right,
than the actual flavor or what goes into the shisha.
right,
And that's why there's even like what they call it the smoke enhancer, where you there's a tube that's getting sold that looks like a toothpaste tube, where after you put the molasses, you're supposed like you can go ahead and put it on top, and it's actually extra glycerin to give you extra output or smoke output. Because nowadays that's all they care about,
right.
how much smoke you can get out of the shisha.
So yeah, for me, I don't understand that. I don't understand why somebody would go to a lounge and spend so much money on something that's actually costing the lounge a few dirhams, and you're paying 150 200 dirhams. I just don't get it. Whereas with Cubans with a cigar, that's the product that they've purchased, and you're purchasing that from them.
Yeah,
There's no addition. They've not added anything to it. Literally, that's the thing that came out the factory,
yeah,
and you're smoking that. And the markups are not as high. So you're sitting in a beautiful lounge smoking it.
yeah,
Can't get better than this
100%.
for Friday afternoon.
Right, and I think we'll leave it there. A big shout out to Vintage Cigar Lounge for this amazing setup. Really nice room, really nice homegrown cigar brand called Amarati. Come check them out. Whoever is in town, come to Vintage Cigar Lounge. Check out the cigars they have over here. I highly recommend the OG. We haven't smoked anything else. We're going to be smoking more of the Amarati cigar collection that they have.
And the new launch, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to see what's the collaboration all about and who is it. I have a feeling it's going to be like a really really nice one. So that's on the 18th of Feb, as
Yeah,
you said. They're going to release that cigar, and hopefully we get a chance to smoke it, to be one of the first ones to smoke that cigar. We're going to review it. We're going to go ahead and smoke it in one of the episodes. Tolham, you're missing out. You missed out on a really nice cigar and a nice place to go ahead. And I'm pretty sure we're going to do more and more of those episodes here.
yeah. My fingers are nearly burning because I'm coming towards the end. Back. I don't want to stop smoking this.
And this is the third time you're smoking it.
Thanks, guys.
Right? Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.